Travel consideration provided by...
Yes!
Yes?
Yes?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes.
Discover. Accepted at over 95% of places in the U.S.
Happening now.
Super Tuesday wasn't so super for Bexar County. What went right and what went wrong with our primary election?
And it's been happening since last week. Employees at a local business having to make over 1,000 gallons of hand sanitizer a day just to keep up with the demand.
Officers shot and killed a man living inside her home. Tonight, she calls the shooting sad, terrifying, but justified.
The San Marcos police searching for a suspect after the hit-and-run death of a San Antonio man. The Super Tuesday delivered for both Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, but with Mike Bloomberg getting out of the race, what's next in the Democratic race for the president?
Now that the storm threat has passed, our weather pattern has shifted. I'll be back with all the details, help you prepare for the rest of the week and into the weekend, coming right up.
The San Antonio Food Bank reacting to the coronavirus threat. How you can help. The News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, the search for a San Antonio murder suspect is now over.
San Antonio police confirming today a body discovered last night on the city's south side is 42-year-old Andrew Munoz. He'd been on the run since Friday after police say he kidnapped his ex-girlfriend, 43-year-old Maricela Cadena, last week. 2 days later, he shot and killed her inside a Subway restaurant. According to the medical examiner, Munoz died of a gunshot wound to the head. It is unclear at this time whether it was self-inflicted.
Last week, Police Chief William McManus said Cadena had reported the kidnapping. He went on to say that this is yet another frustrating example of the problem of domestic violence in the city.
Well, the dust finally starting to settle on what ended up being a wild primary election night in Bexar County.
More than 250,000 people cast their ballot, causing confusion at the polls, but also causing the county's tabulation system to crash 3 times. The normally streamlined process of reporting results gave way to frustration at the Bexar County Elections headquarters, where some officials remained until 4 in the morning. One of the problems encountered by the election workers at the polls was dealing with voters who wanted to change their early vote for president because they had voted for someone who had dropped out of the race.
I feel like I let the election officials down because all of a sudden they had these people in front of them with something that they had never, ever had to deal with.
Some states, including Michigan, allow voters to pick a new candidate if their choice is dropped out before Election Day. Callanan said yesterday's issues also made it clear she will need additional staff in place for the November election.
And taking another look at the numbers from last night, Joe Biden winning the state of Texas, but Bernie Sanders won the most votes in Bexar County. Across the state, Biden received 34% of the vote, while Bernie Sanders received 30%. In Bexar County, Bernie Sanders took the lead with 33% of voters. Joe Biden came in second at 29%.
Here in Bexar County, Sheriff Javier Salazar overwhelmingly won the Democratic vote against a handful of other candidates, ending his night at 54%. In November, he will face Republican challenger Jared Rickoff, who defeated Willie Ng and Gary Garcia with 52% of the vote.
And the battle for Precinct 2 Constable narrowing down to just 3 candidates. Democratic candidates Leticia Vasquez and Eno Badillo will go head-to-head for the seat, which Vasquez currently holds. She took over Precinct 2 last year after Michelle Barrientos Velo was removed from office.
Whoever secures the Democratic vote will then go on to face Republican challenger Charlie Pena Jr. The runoff election is scheduled for May 26th.
The Texans also voted on 11 different propositions that'll help guide party priorities. The majority of Democratic and Republican voters agreed on all 11. The topics include everything from health care to gun control and air quality. You can read more about these propositions and check on all other races, including the 9 county races headed to a runoff right now on ksat.com.
The Super Tuesday surprises continue. Joe Biden receiving overwhelming support in the South, while Bernie Sanders currently leads in California. And now Michael Bloomberg says he's out of the running and endorsing Biden. Nadia Romero is in Washington with a look at the aftermath of Tuesday's elections.
Super Tuesday answered one critical question. Can Joe Biden deliver enough big wins to stay competitive?
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing.
The answer, a resounding yes.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. The turnout's turned out for us.
A big night for the former vice president, winning 10 states, including unexpected victories in Maine, Minnesota, and Massachusetts. But did Super Tuesday answer this? Do we know who the Democratic nominee will be?
We have come a long, long way.
Not yet, not by a mile.
Tonight, I tell you with absolute confidence, we are going to win the Democratic nomination.
Bernie Sanders racked up plenty of his own delegates, especially if he holds his lead in California and has enough support and campaign cash to go the distance.
Joe and I have a very different vision for the future of this country, and Joe and I are running very different campaigns.
Last night's results also meant the end of the road for Michael Bloomberg, who poured hundreds of millions of dollars of his own money into Super Tuesday states. Bloomberg is throwing his support behind Biden.
And I hope you will join me in working to make him the next president of the United States of America.
As for Elizabeth Warren, she and her team are assessing the path forward after a disappointing third-place finish in her home state of Massachusetts. In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
Concerns over the spread of coronavirus, meanwhile, have led to some stores limiting the disinfectant products that you can buy. Earlier this week, H-E-B announced that customers will be limited to 4 items of each disinfectant product. However, there's one local store, Cleaning Ideas is the name of it, where the CEO says there is no limit and customers can buy what they need because that store makes their own. As Stephanie Cerner reports, when it comes to hand sanitizer, they're manufacturing gallons and gallons each day.
Cleaning Ideas has been manufacturing cleaning products and selling them for more than 91 years. And over the last few weeks, their business has increased quite a bit.
We've been very busy since the coronavirus outbreak. We've got all 7 of our locations here in San Antonio and in Kerrville the business has doubled and tripled in some of our locations since we manufacture most of the products here.
Their hottest item right now, their hand sanitizer. They're still stocking their shelves, but they're also having to manufacture more of the product, about 1,000 gallons a day.
We make our alcohol hand sanitizer gel here in San Antonio, the Sanihan. So we do have it in stock, as you can see. We're continuing to make more every day. About 1,000 gallons a day is currently what we're trying to produce.
Davis says they saw a similar spike in sales with the H1N1 outbreak. But through it all, they have kept their prices the same, no matter the demand.
I think it's very unfortunate that people are taking advantage of a situation like this. We have never changed our prices, no matter what's happening. No one needs to panic that there are companies locally that are making these products for them. And we will catch up and we'll be able to supply what everyone needs.
Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Meanwhile, San Antonio Metro Health wants you to remember there has not been any community spread in San Antonio. Your risk of exposure is low, but you should still be washing your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face, avoid close contact with people who are sick, and if you are sick, stay home. Cover your cough or sneeze with tissues, and of course, disinfect frequently touched surfaces. If you have questions about the coronavirus, Metro Health has created a COVID-19 hotline. It's available in both English and Spanish. The number to call is 210-207-5779. The hotline open Monday through Friday from 8 in the morning until 5 at night.
Taking a look at the larger picture, the death toll from COVID-19 is up to 11 deaths in America. 10 of those fatalities were in Washington state. The remaining death was an elderly man in California. It's the first death reported outside of Washington state. There are more than 100 cases of COVID-19 trickling throughout more than a dozen states. And around the world, there have been 95,000 confirmed cases. About 51,000 people have recovered and more than 3,200 have died. Coronavirus fears are also having an impact on upcoming festivals like Fiesta and South by Southwest. Organizers of both large events say they are closely watching the virus and its spread. The Fiesta Commission today sending a letter to its member organizations, letting them know that as of now, the Fiesta is going forward as planned in April. However, the commission did say that it's taking extra steps at public events like Fiesta to provide additional wipe downs and hand sanitizer at all locations. Meantime, the organizers of South by Southwest held a news conference today announcing that the show will go on as planned March 13th, despite the cancellations of a number of participants. Amazon, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok among the companies pulling out of the festival, which brings in more than $330 million to the economy of Austin.
Right now, there is no evidence that closing South by Southwest or other activities is going to make this community safer.
There's currently a petition circulating in Austin asking South by Southwest to postpone or cancel the festival until virus fears subside. 32,000 people have signed on. Of course, you can find helpful information on our website. We have a timeline of how COVID-19 came to San Antonio, how it is impacting the economy here, and there's even an explainer of what it is. For the latest information, just go to ksat.com. New at 5, a 63-year-old man accused of sexually assaulting a teen taken into custody this afternoon by San Antonio police. Roberto Espinosa facing a charge of indecency with the child by contact. He's accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl last March. Police say investigators were looking into another case when they learned about this victim. They believe there could be more, and so we're encouraging any other victims to come forward. The phone number to call, 210-207-2313.
San Marcos police hoping surveillance video will lead them to the person who killed a San Antonio man. The video is quick, but take a look at it. The red pickup truck speeding down the road, believed to be that suspect. Police say the truck has a broken headlight and a red LED strip lining the back of the truck between the tailgate and the bumper. The crash happened Saturday on South Guadalupe Street in San Marcos. The victim, 69-year-old Eligio Vasquez, found lying on the street, not breathing. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Police found broken pieces of that truck at the scene, determined it was a hit and run. If you have information, contact San Marcos Police at 512-753-2182.
Police were justified. Those words coming from a woman who was in her West Side home when police shot and killed her mother's boyfriend, Richard Rodriguez. It happened Saturday on Conicio Drive. The woman says Rodriguez was a good person, but his erratic actions cost him his life. She didn't want to show her face on camera, but still exclusively told Courtney Friedman her entire story.
Do you feel like police did the right thing?
Yes, they did.
Was he pointing the gun at them?
Yes. When they came in, that was the first thing they did see, like, in his hands. They asked him 3 to 4 times, like, can you please put the gun down, sir? And he, like, refused to. And I guess after, like, the 3rd time, like, that's when they, like, shot him.
A tough thing to say about a man she cared for and lived with. Richard Rodriguez went to elementary school with her mother. About a year ago, they reconnected, began dating, and he moved in with their family.
He was a good person overall, you know, like, he was good to my girls.
She and her mom said he was never abusive and was never on drugs around them, which is why they were surprised by what detectives said after the shooting Saturday morning.
They just told us that it was like meth, that he was on meth. And so that's why he could have been paranoid.
She said Saturday her mom was at the hospital recovering from surgery. She was home with her boyfriend and 3 daughters, one an infant. Around 4 in the morning, she said Rodriguez came into the house causing a commotion.
So he went to my mom's room, and that was like the only time we actually got to escape. He came back with like a gun, and he kept like pointing it at us. So then the police came, he pointed it at them. They did tell him like put it down, and he refused to. And they shot at him. My daughters were inside the house, and I just pushed like my daughters out.
Days later, she and her girls sit in her childhood home, feet from where it happened, trying to shut out traumatic images.
We did everything we could for Richard. We tried to stop him. We didn't want any of this to happen.
Now, an attempt to replace those images with the happy ones. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead on the news at 5, the toll has increased following powerful tornadoes in Tennessee. A look at the aftermath and what officials there are focusing in on in the coming days. And 24 lives lost, the death toll from weekend tornadoes in Tennessee reaching 24. Officials believe it could climb. Tennessee is currently under a state of emergency. Tens of thousands of people still without electricity. Officials saying today crews will be working around the clock to restore power to anyone who is without. Right now, it's unclear how many tornadoes hit the state, at least one in East Nashville. has been categorized as an EF3.
Now we're in the transition from yesterday's emergency to recovery. The next phase will be rebuilding.
This weekend's tornado is the deadliest to hit Tennessee in 7 years.
Amid the concerns of the coronavirus, our KSAT community partners are teaming up with the San Antonio Food Bank for a preparation and prevention campaign.
Yeah, the goal is to collect enough food and supplies to put together 300,000 preparedness kits in the event there's an outbreak. Some of the top needed items: rice, beans, soups, canned foods, diapers, pet food. The kits will also include hand sanitizer and disinfectant. For more information, including how to donate, go to ksat.com/KSAT-community.
Looking outside with live cam, we can report a beautiful evening in store. Is this one of those nights where you're going to have a really nice sunset because of the clouds out there?
We will in some parts of South Texas. South of town, it's too clear.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, there aren't any clouds. And it's really had an impact on temperatures. So we'll talk about that and, of course, how much rain we got, because the showers moved through earlier this morning. Then we had a little bit of wraparound activity on the backside or the underside of this upper level low and gave us another little quick hit of rain this afternoon in some parts of our area. So here's a look at the rainfall estimates according to Doppler radar. And the sweet spot was mainly in the hill country and even points northward from there, with some estimates on the order of 2 inches or more in northwestern Edwards County and over an inch in some other pockets of the hill country. At the airport in San Antonio, just about half an inch. So not bad. We'll take it. We could use more, but we'll take it. And here's some of that wraparound activity that's left over. There really isn't all that much. South of Blanco, right along 281 into Comal County. This is quickly moving eastward. In Canyon Lake, expect a quick, fast-moving downpour here momentarily. This will quickly move on through, and you're probably not going to get much out of it, maybe a few hundredths of an inch. Just moved through Nixon, another little downpour as well, flying along, moving southeastward, and that's dissipating at this time. Otherwise, we're actually clearing out. The sky is clearing. The real sweet spot for the rain, the good soaking rain off to the north of us, especially the I-20 corridor in North Texas. That's where they had some good rainfall and still getting the good rain. That's the part of Texas that actually is not in drought. South Texas is, North Texas is not. We could use some of that soaking rain. Unfortunately, this was not our system. Here it is, though. You see the upper level swirl here, and that's the upper level disturbance. We're getting on the underside of it and the backside of it, so our sky's beginning to clear on out, and that's having a big impact on temperatures across the state. Where you have the clouds and the rain, 40s and 50s. Abilene 49, Midland 50, Dallas 55. Then you get into South Texas. Here in San Antonio, we're 67, right on the edge of the cloud line. But south of town, around 80 degrees. Beeville 80, Cotulla 79, and Laredo at 80. So sunshine, of course, makes all the difference when it comes to temperatures out there this afternoon. Only 56 in Kerrville, 55 in Fredericksburg. And one other thing we have to keep an eye on here is the wind. You're going to notice the wind through the night tonight. Already are feeling the gusty wind, especially west of San Antonio. These are the steady winds right now, between 20 and 25 miles per hour. We'll likely have gusts in excess of 30 miles per hour through the night. So that's something to keep in mind. The rest of the evening, clearing sky with that gusty north wind. Temperatures actually pretty close to average for this time of year. 53 at 10 p.m. by midnight, near 50 degrees. And we'll start the day tomorrow at 47. Bright sunshine all day long tomorrow and making it to 72 for the high temperature. And it's not going to be as gusty throughout the day tomorrow. You'll notice the breeze tonight, first thing in the morning, but then I think a north wind at about 5 to 15. So not crazy in terms of the wind tomorrow. Looking ahead, the rest of the week, beautiful, comfortable, near average temperatures. Mornings in the 40s, afternoons mostly in the lower 70s, and that goes for the beginning of the weekend as well. Then we get into next week and our weather pattern shifts a bit. We'll have some Pacific moisture aloft that'll give us a little extra cloud cover. Maybe squeeze out a few sprinkles here and there on Monday, but right now odds are pretty much against that. One thing you will not see here is a strong cold front.
All right.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so the Spurs take on the Hornets, down 3 players and a head coach.
Yes, and Tim Duncan, hey, come on, we can handle this, right? Him and his coaching staff. It didn't start off so well for the Spurs and head coach Tim Duncan, but it certainly ended on a positive note for Timmy and the guys. Plus, in college basketball, the Horns with some March Madness Magic last night. Coming up.
What was it like having Tim out there calling the shots?
He didn't do It was outside on the floor.
Patty Mills was joking, of course, and said it was great to have Tim Duncan calling the shots in big board sports. Down 17 points in the first quarter, and with time running out this season to qualify for the playoffs, the Spurs made a great comeback last night at the Charlotte Hornets with Tim Duncan as acting head coach. Charlotte led 36-19 after one, and then the Spurs slowly chipped away, taking their first lead of the game, 69-67, thanks to a Bryn Forbes three-pointer. After that, the two sides would go back and forth until the game ended, and the Spurs were on top, 104-103. DeJounte Murray, who scored a game-high 21, said it was cool to have Tim Duncan acting as head coach.
It was great. He just, allowed us to play, and, he was coaching us. He was on our we made mistakes, the obvious mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes, going up and down offense, defense. But it was good. I mean, he motivated us. He pushed us.
It was fun just getting in the huddles. Especially for a guy like me who had the privilege to play against Tim. Now to be sitting in the huddle, listening to him coach. It was great.
It was good to, hear or see everyone dialed in to what he was saying and go out there and try to get it done.
Spurs will play at the Brooklyn Nets Friday night at 6:30, a battle of sub-500 teams. Now, the Nets played at the Celtics last night, where Brooklyn was led by Caris LeVert, a fourth-year shooting guard out of Michigan. LeVert scored 26 points in the fourth quarter, and then another 11 in overtime to help the Nets erase a 21-point second-half hole to beat Boston 129-120 in overtime. LeVert scored a career-high 51 points and had all of Brooklyn's points in OT. Brooklyn is 7th in the East, one-half game ahead of 8th place Orlando. And Brooklyn will host Memphis tonight before facing the Spurs Friday. And we had a thrilling finish in Norman last night at Longhorns at the Sooners. Matt Coleman III banks in a three-pointer with 0.4 of a second left to help the Horns win 52-51 for their fifth straight dub. UT is now 9-8 in the Big 12, 19-11 overall. Texas is looking more and more like a tournament team. They are certainly heating up at the right time. Fantastic. Look at that.
Beautiful.
That's when you know things are going your way.
Right?
Maybe he called back, though.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either, but it was loud in there. So.
We'll be right back. Y'all are funny.
Some of our weather watchers got some good rainfall late last night, early this morning. Joanne and Lakey, an inch. Warren and Del Rio, 3/4 of an inch. Even in Schertz, about 0.4 of an inch. So that's good to see across parts of South Texas that we actually had some decent rainfall in spots. Bulverde even, 1/2 an inch. So we'll take that. Rest of the week, sunny and dry. Highs low 70s. Beautiful.
Great. Thanks for watching the News at 5 with us.
See you back here at 6. World News is next.